All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're going to master a social transaction that honestly stresses a lot of us out: asking for and managing favors. Look, we all need a little help sometimes, right? But figuring out exactly how to ask for it without making things super weird, well, it's practically an art form.
I mean, asking for help can feel incredibly daunting. Maybe it's just a tiny everyday thing like needing to borrow a pen. Or maybe you're playfully pushing the boundaries and joking with a friend to buy you a brand new car. Regardless of the size of the ask, it's your approach that really matters. When you ask someone to do something nice for you, you're not ordering them around. You are inviting them to help. And doing that politely, well, that requires exactly the right language. So here is our game plan for today. Number 1, the art of the ask. Number 2, saying yes and giving thanks. Number 3, how to say no. And finally, number 4, the art of the deal. Okay, starting off with section 1, the art of the ask, softening your approach. Picture this scenario. A woman named Sarah finds herself out and about and her phone battery is completely dead. She desperately needs to call her mom to say she'll be late. Now, think about the phrase on the left side here. A blunt command, give me your phone. Ouch. That's a little rude, right? It puts immediate, heavy pressure on the other person. But on the right, we see what Sarah actually did with her friend Tom. She completely avoided that blunt demand and instead used a gentle question. Would it be possible for me to use your phone? See the difference? She didn't corner Tom. She gave him a comfortable space to respond. So let's look at this. It's essentially a menu of soft inquiries you can use in almost any situation. Take, would it be possible? It naturally acknowledges that maybe the person is too busy, which gives them an easy out. Then we have, could you possibly? Adding that word possibly is like magic. It makes the request even gentler, shrinking it down into a tiny, manageable favor. But honestly, my absolute favorite is, I was wondering if. This phrase is brilliant because it prepares the other person by making it sound like you're just thinking out loud. You aren't throwing a heavy question at them, you're just smoothly introducing a thought you had in your head. Now, sometimes the favor involves physical labor. When Sarah needed to move a really heavy bookcase, she used this incredibly natural phrase, I could really use an extra hand. It's a fantastic casual idiom. It simply means you need physical help from another person because, well, your own two hands aren't quite enough to carry heavy bags or move large furniture. It's a very common, totally unintimidating way to just say, please help me. Moving right along to section 2, saying yes and giving thanks, closing the loop. So, when you are on the receiving end of a request, how you say yes totally sets the tone. When Tom let Sarah use his phone, he quickly said, yeah, sure, no problem. This is absolutely crucial because it signals that the request wasn't a burden, instantly making her feel comfortable. You could also use, of course, which politely implies, hey, why would I ever say no to a friend? But if you want to be exceptionally warm, try glad to help or I'd be happy to. These phrases show you aren't just doing the favor out of obligation. You genuinely feel good about helping. And anytime, that is the ultimate friendly closer. It lets them know the door is literally always open for future favors. After receiving help, you've got to deliver a proper thank you. Sarah thanked Tom by calling him a lifesaver. This is the perfect idiom to acknowledge that someone just rescued you from a really tough spot. Now, obviously, a dead phone battery doesn't mean you're in actual mortal danger. But come on, in that moment of sheer panic when you desperately need to call your mom, it certainly feels that way. It's a highly effective, expressive way of showing deep gratitude. Depending on the context, you've got a few different ways to show gratitude. You can use I really appreciate it to formally and warmly acknowledge the true value of their help. It shows you understand exactly what their time or effort meant. On the flip side, for smaller things, you can just keep it sincere and simple with phrases like thanks a lot or that's so kind of you. Adding a lot or so much simply takes a standard thank you and makes it feel a bit bigger and way more sincere. Which brings us to section 3, how to say no. The polite pivot. Let's completely deconstruct Tom's masterful method for declining that bookcase move. You see, Sarah asked him for a favor at 10 a.m., but he just couldn't do it. Instead of giving a flat, cold no, he used a brilliant 3-step method. Step 1, start with an apology, like, I'm so sorry, showing you actually feel bad about it. Step 2 is arguably the most important. State a desire to help with something like, I'd love to, but. This tells the person your true intention is to help them, which softens the blow immensely. Finally, step 3, finish with a short, honest reason, like I have a dentist appointment. You do not need to over-explain here. Just keep it brief and truthful. Now, if you need some variety in your toolkit, keep these polite declines handy. Unfortunately, I'm not able to is slightly more formal, which is great for a professional setting. I wish I could, but functions just like our previous example, highlighting those good intentions. And remember, the phrase I'm afraid, as in I'm afraid I can't, does not mean you are physically scared. It simply shows you are worried about having to disappoint them. It's a highly empathetic way to say no.
And finally, Section 4, the art of the deal, negotiating a trade. This brings us to a really great example from the source material. Tom had a massive dilemma. He completely forgot he was scheduled to work, but he desperately needed the weekend off for his best friend's wedding. So he gave Sarah incredibly short notice to cover his shift. Sarah wanted to help, sure, but she couldn't just give away her time for free. So she brilliantly used this conditional framework. I'll cover your shift if you cover my shift on Friday. Boom! She turned the favor into a direct, balanced trade. When it comes to the art of negotiation among friends, you can use phrases like, "How about we trade?" Or, "Would you be willing to help me clean if I cook dinner?" It makes the help conditional, but in a totally fair way. However, a massive note of caution here. While these phrases are incredibly effective ways to negotiate casual deals with people you are close to, do not use them with strangers. Seriously, if a stranger politely asks to use your phone, you just say yes. You definitely don't say, "Great, now can you buy me a coffee?" That would just be rude. Context and closeness are literally everything when trading favors. So now that you have the structured toolkit of phrases, from the gentle ask to the enthusiastic yes, the polite no, and the friendly negotiation, I want you to think about your own life right now. What is one favor, big or small, that you'd like to ask someone today? And more importantly, which of these tools are you going to use to make sure you get a yes? Take these phrases out into the real world and watch how smoothly your next favor goes.